Number 1. Some weapons shoot faster when you tap the fire button rather than just holding it. So this is mostly true for just like revolvers and pistols, I think, but I think there's a lot of other weapons that's true with it as well. But it's actually sometimes faster to shoot by clicking the button constantly rather than holding it down. Obviously for some weapons like the lasers or guns that need to charge, obviously that's not true. And it's also actually easier to reload guns if you're actually tapping the fire button, because as soon as you run out of bullets you'll be tapping the button, which will immediately start the reload rather than having to wait till it runs out and then pressing it to reload, or having to take your finger off the WASD keys to hit R, which I find I do have to do. I usually have to take my finger off the D button to hit R to reload, which can cause a lot of problems with dodging if you're in the middle of a boss fight and have to reload. So I feel like constantly clicking the button is actually a way easier if you have the right weapons for it. Number 2 is you can actually extinguish yourself, and this actually works for poison as well. If you're poisoned or on fire, if you roll, use the dodge roll and constantly do it, it will actually extinguish the fire or get rid of your poison without it hurting you to do, because constantly dodge rolling is a problem. It makes it harder to dodge the bullets, but if it's any other situation where you know you can actually get rid of it, you should definitely dodge roll constantly if you're on fire or poisoned, because it will get rid of it a lot quicker and it will make it so you do not get hurt. Number 3. This is not really much of a spoiler, but it is something that a lot of people probably haven't run into yet. If you see a chest that's like glitching out, it isn't actually a glitch in the game. That is actually a specific kind of special chest that unfortunately I don't have any footage for because I have not found one. But it is a specific kind of chest that you can open and will cause some really cool shit to happen. But just letting you know, if you see this, don't close your game or anything. It is not a glitch. It is a real thing that is in the game and you should open it. Number 4. You can actually dodge roll to kill the smallest slimes. So when you attack slimes, they obviously split up into smaller ones. But when they're like the very tiny ones, if you dodge roll into them, you can actually kill them and it won't hurt you. So if you're needing to reload and there's a couple of them coming at you, rather than having to wait to reload and waste some ammo, just roll into them and it'll kill them. Makes it a lot easier to deal with. Number 5. Single shot weapons can actually be reloaded much faster if you do one of two things. If you immediately press the fire button after taking a shot, or if you tap the reload button, it actually makes it a lot faster. So for example, if you're using the crossbow and you double tap the fire button after you reload, or when you need to reload, it will actually reload a lot faster, which for single shot weapons is a huge thing. So make sure to tap the shit out of the reload button if you're using that kind of weapon. Number 6. This is something I wish I knew a lot earlier. So many of you may know that if you leave something like ammo or a spacebar item, or an active item, whatever you want to call it, on the floor and leave the room, a lot of times you'll come back to get it sometime later and it'll be gone, and you'll have a little note from a rat saying that he took it. So there is actually a way to stop this from happening. If you leave the room and immediately come back, a lot of times you'll find the rat going to get the weapon. You can actually see him doing it, and if you shoot at him you'll scare him away. If you do this at least twice, he will actually leave you alone for the rest of your run and never come back to steal your stuff. This is extremely helpful, considering a lot of times you'll get an ammo drop on a floor or in a room, and you may not want to use it right away because maybe some of your guns are pretty full already. So if you want to use this to try and get rid of that rat so that he stops stealing your shit, this is the way to do it. Number 7. You can actually use the wax wings and the jetpack, 2 items that allow you to fly, to cheat a game that's in one of the challenge rooms. So there's actually a guy that you can unlock who will ask you to basically play a little mini game where you have to shoot shots to bounce in this little kind of maze to hit these heads, and there's usually 4 of them. And it can be quite tricky to hit all 4, but if you have the wax wings or the jetpack that allow you to fly over pits, you can just fly straight over and shoot them on your own, and it makes it a lot easier. So if you have one of those items, don't be afraid to cheat the hell out of that game. Number 8. So when you charge up a weapon and you sometimes have nothing to shoot, a lot of times I do this, where I will preemptively charge up a gun before I enter a room, soon to realise that the room I've entered actually doesn't have any enemies in it. And you may think, well, I don't want to just sit here and hold the fire button down. If you actually switch weapons, it will save the ammo for that shot and you won't actually fire it. So it's a cool little trick if you accidentally charge up a shot but don't have anything to shoot with it. Number 8. So this isn't something that's completely 100% confirmed, but it seems like most people agree that this is something. So when you kill enemies in a room, you'll notice that usually they drop money. People have found that if you don't get hit by enemies, especially if you don't get hit by a specific enemy, there's actually a higher chance that they will drop money when you kill them. So it's strange. If you get hit by an enemy, you can probably guarantee that you're not going to get any money drops from them. So if you're trying to save up money for something, you gotta really make sure that you dodge shots and do not get hit. Remember to take your time with this game, guys. You don't have to rush, there's no time limit. Number 9. When you actually flip a table to use for cover, while it's doing its flipping animation, it's actually completely invulnerable and will not take any damage. So this is actually very useful if you're in a dire situation against some kind of really bullet hell enemy and you want to like hide behind the table for a second. It will not get destroyed super quick because of the animation. It will actually stop a lot of bullets without being damaged, so this could be very, very helpful if you're in any kind of situation where there are a lot of enemies firing at you. Number 10. Keys are very, very important. I'm serious. If you guys are in the shop and there are keys for sale, prioritise buying them over anything else. Keys are gonna be important for you getting good weapons and chests. If you think, oh well, I want to buy this half a heart, no. Trust me, keys are one of the most important things to have in this game. They're very, very scarce, you don't come by them that often, and it is the best chance you have of opening chests and getting really good items and really good guns. It is the best thing to do. Always, always buy keys when you can. Number 11. You may have noticed that there are a thing called mimics in this game, or maybe you've not, because unlike most people, I've actually only ever run into one of these guys. So if you don't know what a mimic is a monster that pretends to be a chest so that when you try to open it, it will attack you. This can be pretty scary because this can happen anytime, and usually when you're in an item room with a chest, that's when you feel safe. But it's true, they actually can turn into enemies that attack you. So just to be safe, one trick that I've always found is when you enter a room or any place that has a chest in it, give it a couple of shots before you open it, just to make sure that it's not going to open up and try and eat you. Number 12. If you see a sewer grate in the shop and you're like, what the hell is this guy all about? You can actually drop weapons to sell to him for money. So if you have any gun that's not very good or that's out of ammo and you're not going to use anytime soon, go up to the guy, and if you're playing keyboard and mouse, hold F. I'm not sure what it is in the controller, guys, sorry. You can look at the controller bindings and stuff on the options menu. Just go up to him, drop your weapon, and he'll give you a bunch of money. And if you've destroyed any chests and gotten that junk item that doesn't seem to do anything, this is where you can use it. Give it to him, he'll give you some money. Yeah, it's very helpful. Number 13. Do not waste keys on brown chests. I know this is very tempting for a lot of people. You see a chest, you want to open it, but trust me, brown chests a lot of times are just not worth your keys. Green, blues and the other chests are way, way, way better. And if you come across a brown one and you think you're going to be tempted to open it, just shoot it and break it apart, because there's a good chance you'll either get half a heart or possibly junk, which you can sell at the shop, like we previously said. Trust me, do not open brown chests unless it's obviously not got a key lock on it, which sometimes it doesn't, but if it does, it's really not worth wasting a key most of the time, guys. Just don't do it. Number 14. This is something I actually didn't know for a little while, but if you get a flawless victory on a boss, you actually get a health upgrade item as well as a other item from the boss fight. This can obviously be very difficult to do, and a lot of people may not know it because this game is relentlessly difficult. Even for the first floor boss, it can be pretty hard for a lot of people to get flawless victories, which basically just means doing the boss fight without getting hit. And unlike Binding of Isaac, having the little shields does not protect this. It does not protect it. If you lose one of your shield items when you get hit, that still counts as a hit and it will not count towards your flawless boss skill. And if you're thinking, oh well, how the hell am I going to do that? Trust me, I thought the same thing. I thought I would never flawless any bosses, but I've started doing it as well. Trust me, it's something you want to really, really try and get good at, because having that extra health upgrade for later floors is so helpful. Number 15. So, you may have noticed that if you go to the shop, you can actually... Number 15. So, you may have noticed that a lot of times when you go into the shop, you may not have the money to buy stuff. but did you know you can actually steal items from the shop? Now, unfortunately this does and can have negative consequences to it, but if you really want one of those items, it's probably worth it. Now, the way you do it is you'll need some kind of item that makes you invisible or kind of distracts them. There's an item you can get that creates like a little wooden version of yourself. If you use that in the shop, it will distract the shopkeeper and you can actually go up and grab one of the items for free and run away. Or if you have an item like the box, which is a reference to Metal Gear Solid, you can actually sneak up on the counter and just take any item you want. Now, unfortunately, if you get caught doing this, which it can happen, the guy will get really angry and disappear from any other future shops on the floors. And also, when you do steal items, you get a secret effect called Curse, which can be very bad because it can cause some enemies to become a lot stronger and faster. But a lot of times it can actually be helpful as well. You may want to look up a little bit more about the curses, but just a little hint, you can actually steal some stuff from the shop in case you're a little hard for cash.